Today I'm going to go over how I grow pepper plants, and boy do I grow them. I have so many, but there are better methods sometimes than what I'm showing you. It's not that they're bad or wrong, but sometimes I just really want to save some money. Now, to save money a lot of times I'll use the tiny little cups. They may not be the best, but they're easy to pass around to friends and neighbors or whomever wants them. They still work, but for yourself you may want to go bigger. I'm going to explain that in a minute, then I'm going to show you how I do all this and why I do certain things that may be a little unconventional. So this is something I wanted to show you. When we start out in a cup and it's got just that little bit of soil and you got all these plants growing that have to be transplanted. Look how tiny and kind of wispy they are. They're very fine. If you take them out of here and put them in small cups, now these were all planted exactly at the same time. Look how small this one is. And we've gone quite a few weeks now since I've transplanted these. This one is small. This one's bigger, but see how skinny it is? Because it has less room in here as far as water and, let's say, plant food, but the main thing is space. Space is a big thing. But then you've got this one. Now this one has got a heavy stalk on it. It's got, look how much more room and how much soil it's got in there. So I have found that if you take them out of, let's say you've got a tray and you're planting them in new pots, try to get them as big as possible. You don't have to get into a big pot, but these big red cups, the ones I do, like the 2-cup system, which has nothing to do with the size. The point is they will grow quicker and better because they have more room to spread their roots in here. Now, yes, I do a lot of these because sometimes I'm giving them away. I've got tons of these little tiny cups. I just plant up a whole bunch. I've had 100 tomatoes. I pass them around in little cups. So it's easy to hand to somebody or just whatever. These I recently got this size and I experimented and I saw they did do better in the larger cups. So keep that in mind when you're planting peppers, tomatoes, or anything like that. Maybe give them a little more room, which gives you a little more time till you find a place to put them, whether they're in your garden or a container gardening, a tote, wherever you're going to do it. And I thought this might be something good to show you as far as which grow better when they leave their seed tray. I think the one with a little more space. Now we're going to go over how to get all those little pepper plants out of that cup. This is how it all started. I stuff in some tulle, T-U-L-L-E, and I've got the link underneath in my description how to get it so cheap. I load it up with a little bit of potting soil of your choice. You don't have to have any plant food or anything in there. So whatever potting soil you want to get, put it all in there. And notice there were no holes on this cup because I want to make sure my seeds stay damp and I can sit the cup anywhere in the house, even on the grand piano. I don't have one. But anyways, you got the idea. Now you can just sprinkle in seeds, push them in there, and I usually end up putting an entire pepper in there that I pick from the garden, and I end up with this. But that's okay. I can always pick and choose which ones I want to plant and which ones I want to give away. Now I'm going to go ahead and plant all these, and I'm going to use medium-sized paper cups on these. Though I have used tiny ones, I'm going to use the medium size. They're about 4 ounces. The other ones are like 2. So now we want to make drain holes in here. Now the paper cups I love because when it comes to planting, you don't have to take them out. You kind of tear the bottom out, drop it in the ground, and boom, they grow and the cup will kind of fall apart. There is plastic inside those cups, but when you see it, pull it out, throw it away. Now I just fill it up. Now I mixed soil in there. Some was from my own totes and a little bit was potting mix. So it keeps it cheaper and they'll be used to my soil that I'm growing in because part of it is the soil that I use around here that I make, my own compost. Now the fun part, we take the tulle off and we start to divide it. Now what I love about very young plants is really they're almost indestructible. In other words, you can tear off almost all the roots and they're going to come back because they want to grow. And that's what makes them so wonderful. So even though you may think, oh my gosh, there's only 1 or 2 teeny roots left, doesn't matter. They're going to generate new roots within days. And we will have to go through on how to do that or you could lose them. So here I am just packing them in these paper cups and I'm putting them in a dish pan, no holes in the dish pan. And this way, you'll see when I water them, they might be in a little bit of water on the bottom. That's okay, especially for the first few days. This will keep the roots damp so they can generate new roots that pull up water. Yes, I still had a whole lot more peppers to do. So I went ahead and got a black dishpan. I love my dishpans. I grow in dishpans all over. Got more paper cups, and I am now going to plant the rest of them. This is wonderful because I'll tell you something. In the medium-sized paper cups, 4 to 6 ounces, even at the bigger ones, the 8 ounces, you can leave them in there for 6 months. The tiny ones, they'll get a little cramped. Peppers, they don't have a really big root system like some of the other plants, so they'll kind of go dormant, waiting. Come on, Mom, put us in the ground. But in other words, they're really good to pack up this way, and plant them and give them away. It is wonderful to do. Now, you can do this with anything. You can do this with squash, carrots. I've done it with carrots. You can do it with tomatoes, eggplant, whatever you're growing. I plant in tulle. I take them apart. But the big secret is to get them in something like a dishpan. Water them really good. We have one more thing we have to do, and we'll get into that in a minute, because we're going to want to make sure they're slightly submerged in water. This is very important. Notice some of these have almost no roots. And I'll tell you, I did this a bit ago, and I didn't lose a single one because I kind of know the steps that I have to go through, whether it's peppers or tomatoes or eggplants or zucchini or whatever I'm doing. I just did borage for Gary. There's a lot of different plants. I do it in the same method, and it works fantastic. So again, you can use pure potting mix. Go ahead and get a brand that's reliable. Doesn't have to be expensive, but reliable. Because if you get an off-brand, you don't know anything about it. I've had some of those with persistent herbicide, and if that's in there, your plants are done, and it won't be your fault. There will be nothing you can do. So I tend to use Miracle Grow, but if you want to get Dr. Earth or one of the other ones, Kellogg's, that would be fine too. So here I'm just finishing them up. I'm kind of counting out how many I have left. And then I've got the entire cup of peppers. Now, these particular peppers were from either Walmart or Aldi. I can't remember because I've had both I've been planting. They have the little mini bell peppers. They're orange or yellow or red. When we eat the peppers, I keep the seeds. Sometimes I just take all the seeds that are in there and dump them into that tulle cup and then just go for it. And it works out fantastic. Look at this. I had 3 teeny ones. Now, I have found that a lot of times these teeny weeny ones, they actually don't do that good. When you've got seedlings that come up like gangbusters like that, just growing tall and big and bold, those are going to do the best. It doesn't mean you want to throw out the little ones, though you really should. But sometimes they just don't get that big, or, they're just not that good. But I'm going to go ahead and keep them because if I run short or just want to spot them somewhere in the garden, I can do that. So it's kind of like drop the cup in, get the bottom out first, drop the cup in the ground, and forget about them. The reason I love the cup, I'm not going to show it today, is that when you water them and they're in the ground, that edge of the cup will hold water and the water will go directly to the roots, which is so important because a lot of times you might plant something outside, be watering it, and you think, wow, why did my plant die? Why did it dry up? Because the water went into the ground and took off to the right or the left or God knows where it went, but it didn't go to the roots. So the point is, if you've got that rim around the cup that is circling your plant, it is going to go straight to the roots, and that is what these seedlings need more than anything. Once they're in the ground or in a container, they send their taproot down. They've got plenty of roots that are feeder roots and water roots, and at that point, you're all good. But in the beginning, you really have to take care of them. Think of them as a baby. They're just a baby plant, and though they really want to grow, and that's why they're really strong at this point, even if you mess up, take too many roots off, they are anxious right now to grow. Everything in that plant says grow. It's spring, early summer, whatever it is. If it was later on the season, the weather was cool, something wasn't right, not enough sunlight, then they may not. But they're very anxious and they do well. Now notice I'm going to water them, and I'm going to water them a few times today. They have to stay damp. If they get dry for one day, you will lose the seedlings. Now, what are we going to do with them? One more very important thing. I'm not going to leave them on my deck, because if I leave them on my deck and I walk away and forget to water them, I will lose them. So they are going in the living room, and that's where they're going to sit, where Zoe can play with her toys underneath, and so far she hasn't knocked anything over, and they will sit there for probably a day or two, though I will take them out tomorrow morning and put them in the shade. Don't put them in the sunlight until they establish their roots inside that cup. And for the red ones in the red dish pan, same thing. They've got to go in the house and stay there for a couple days. But again, you can put them outside if you're going to be around, and keep them in the shade, because they will lose water through their leaves. And right now they don't have enough roots to pull the water back into the plant. But in a few days, they're going to be like all the other plants, and you can do what you want with them. Now, this is fantastic. When you put them in bigger cups, they really take off. I've already been harvesting peppers off of these. Again, keep in mind, you can do this with a lot of other plants. You can do it with flowers as well. I do this with zinnias and marigolds and all kinds of stuff. So this is really good for a lot of plants that you're growing. I'm hoping I'm giving you ideas. See the size difference? The one in the tiny, that's a tiny paper cup. It's like 2 to 3 ounces. Look how small they are. See the one in the plastic cup that's about 8 ounces, how much bigger it is? So it is better if you're keeping it for yourself to get them in bigger cups, but you may have so many seedlings. Put them in the little cups, and then when you're ready, transplant them or give them to a friend, a neighbor, or whatever. So I hope I'm giving you information that you can use to plant your seedlings. I really want to read through your comments, so tell me what you think. And did I overgrow peppers? Oh, you bet I did, but I do that all the time. So with that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow, and grow something. It is more important than you know. Bye-bye.